Hi team, I'm working on a few redesigns and that I wanted to run by you. So this is currently what you're seeing is how we see it today when you go to settings CI/CD in a project. You will see that there are two tables for variables under the variable section. There are two tables. One is for the variables which are a part of the same project, and below that are the group variables which are inherited from the groups that the projects are a part of. So like, let's say if there's a series of inheritance, as in there's a group, then there's a subgroup, then another subgroup and project. All those subgroup and group variables would be shown here because they are from the parent group. All right, so this is how we see it today. The first problem that I tackled was that users were not able to understand, like, why can't they see if these variables in the groups were protected, or like what attributes do they carry. So the solution for that was provided through this issue, the proposal in this issue that says display when inherited group variables are protected. And like, we didn't do anything much different. We just kind of tried to replicate the same pattern that we have here for project variables and show that for group, but we made sure that we are not displaying the values. Anyway, that was that. But from there, the conversation started about there's still no indication about the inheritance, like which are the values at project level that are overridden by the group variables, and vice versa. Like, is there a situation when a project variable overrides the subgroup or group variable? Anyway, like, there was no clear visual hierarchy that was shown there. And plus, like, just by exploring this, I was so confused that here it asks you to enter a key and then a value, and then comes these options. We are calling them flags here, but when you go to the table, so first of all, there's no validation in the table. You'll see like a validation appears after you close the model. That's another problem. Yeah, and suddenly those flags, they become options, and instead of the key on the leftmost column, we have something called type, which is very strange because we have a default type, which is variables. Only when you're not choosing, when you're like consciously choosing the file type, you get a file type, but most times it's variable. So it's like a special attribute that you provide sometimes, which is file type. And it just doesn't make sense to have this column over here. So looking at all of these problems combined, like how they are hindering users' capability of understanding like which key has what role and like what's going on here. So there's a redesign that I have proposed, which is under this issue. And it's also a result, this problem is also a result of a comparative study that we did, like the whole team did together. And we found out a few things, and so this is like one of them. Okay, now something, the first change that I made was I removed the type column. I changed the name of options to attributes and made sure that whatever we were showing as options, which were protected, expanded, they all appear as badges and not just like text. Where is it? That's one change. And then I have proposed adding an overridden badge for variables that are potentially, not potentially, but for sure overridden by another variable, probably the same name, that exists at subgroup or group level. And instead of showing two tables, like, why can't we just show them as tabs? Because we of course don't need to look at them, both of them together. In fact, it just makes the settings page super lengthy, and the entire column as well. A few things that we will do differently for the groups tab is we won't show the value. Instead of the value, we're going to show the group name as we do today, and everything else remains the same, just that when you click on edit, instead of like a modal opening up right there in the project, you would be redirected, if you have the permissions to, you would be redirected to the groups variable page. So you don't see any comments here because a lot of discussion happened in the previous iterations of the design, as in the previous drafts of the design, and they are now archived. You can visit those when you look at the archives, but all the feedback from within the team has been taken into account, and this is what we have finally arrived at. So yeah, please drop by on this issue and let me know what you think about these changes.